everyone, this is Nikachu, Merfolk Master, and today I want to give a bunch of examples about how to mulligan with Merfolk with the new London Mulligan system. Now, if you love competitive strategy with Merfolk, you're going to want to like, share, comment, and subscribe to this channel. And what we are going to go through is how you change your mulligan decisions and how you are going to want to, how to choose your starting hand with the new London Mulligan, which I think is a huge advantage to Merfolk. Merfolk really needs this thing. The long story short is that we've got a lot of cards that are better with 7 cards, and some cards that are worse with, like, some cards get better with a large density and some get a lot worse with very few cards. So, and you're going to see these sort of examples. Very obvious one is Force of Negation. So, like, the more cards you have in your hand, the better Force of Negation is, because it's a 2-for-1, whereas the less cards you have in your hand, the worse Force of Negation gets. And there are even cards like Master of Waves, which I'm not going to showcase in this build. I'm going to be playtesting a Simic build here. Master of Waves is a card that is better when you have a large number of cards in your hand, or at least an Ether Vial, because this card requires multiple land drops in order to get into play. And if you've mulliganed down very far, then you're probably not going to have enough cards in order to cast him, not enough land drops. And you can, and of course, when you get really short on cards, the things that you want are creatures. I can't express that enough. I have won many games now on mulligans to 4 and 5 because I could throw away all the other extra garbage and then just keep all the really important stuff. Like if I were to mulligan to 5 here, I might get rid of I might toss the Ether Vial and Silver Gill Adapt, and then keep and then have like a turn 1 Kumena Speaker into a Lord and maybe win the game here. But definitely, if I have to keep 5 cards, Ether Vial is not going to be nearly as useful. So we're going to look at a bunch of different situations where we get to draw 7 cards, and then we're going to consider, should we mulligan this at 6? And do we mulligan further or keep at 5? And then if we do, what are the cards that we are removing? Now, in this particular video, we are up against a deck in the blind. We have no idea what we're playing against. And but I will maybe reference, what we should do if we were on the play or the draw. So let's start off with this hand. And like I said, so if it's a 6-card hand, I guess it's a bit tough. You could dump. On the play, I might want to get rid of the Vial if I've gone down to 6, and that way we can play turn 1 Kumena Speaker into a Lord, or have the option to play Silver Gill Adapt into a Lord. Like, it's a very aggressive hand. Right now, Modern is really hostile. You want to get your creatures out very quickly. The thing is, the risk is if you keep, say, Ether Vial, you get rid of a land. Well, what if you don't draw your next land? Then actually your entire game curves out very slowly. You don't start attacking until like turn 3, and that's not where you want to be either. And maybe there's some. Well, I think in the blind I still want to keep my Silver Gill Adept. But you know what? There could be an argument made getting rid of it. But I think on the play, I might dump the Ether Vial, and then on the draw, I think I would want to keep it because I want to unload my hand very quickly, and I want to catch up with the Ether Vial. So I might dump the Kumena Speaker. It's not going to be nearly as much about racing. I'm going to get I can get a creature in play by turn 2, and then by turn 3 I can play 2 more creatures, and hopefully I've been drawing more cards with Silver Gill Adapt. Not to mention Waterlogged Grove works well with the Ether Vial because you can use your mana to draw the card and then put it into play with the Ether Vial. So what if we went down to 5 cards? Yeah, just like before, I think I would dump the Ether Vial and the Silver Gill Adapt. I think in the blind right now, I just want to be very, very aggressive. I want Lord after Lord after Lord. It's not. I mean, I understand if you want to keep the Silver Gill Adapt, but Modern's just really hostile. If I get rid of one of these Lords, I don't know exactly how I'm pushing through damage. Especially if I'm on the play, I really want. I think we can get some easy wins out here. So this is basically what I would do. Let's look at another hand. This hand, I think very easy. If you've mulliganed to 6, you just get rid of one of these ether vials. You don't need. I don't think you need the second one. You can just hope to draw another land in order to hard cast Master of the Pearl Trident or Harbinger of the Tides. So my suggestion is dump the ether vial. Now, if we've gone down to 5 cards, I very likely still keep this hand, and I probably dump ether vial, and I want to get rid of ether vial. Maybe the Harbinger of the Tides, just to stay aggressive. Harbinger is actually not that well positioned right now in the grand scheme of things. Like, Harbinger of the Tides, I think, is very good against Is It Phoenix? It's like, and then it's just so a bunch of against a bunch of other decks. I want when you're down on cards. Here's the thing: when you're down on cards, you want to prioritize being able to kill your opponent. You don't actually want to go into a long game. If you start keeping cards like Silver Gillidapt or whatever, and all these other cards that go into the long game, you want to play a long game with Merfolk. Then, well, you're just down 2 cards because your opponent has kept 7. So that's not going to be very favorable for you. So I want to keep the hands that give me the best chance of just outright winning the game. Harbinger of the Tides is just an interactive card, so I would dump this thing. Now keep in mind though, if your opponent is also mulliganing down on cards, then you have a little bit more room to, you know, change your plan or whatever. But I think in the dark we don't know if Harbinger is good, so let's just get rid of him. We've got, I think 1 lander. So here we got the force and negation problem, and basically, at 6 cards, I would not keep this. I think a 1 lander on the play or the draw is too risky, so I would mulligan down to 5. Now, let's say this was our 5 card hand. I would keep this, and this is a perfect situation where I'm just going to dump the force and negations. Let's get rid of both of them, and let's have a hand just full of creatures. We're down a lot of cards already. We can't afford to lose more. We can't tempo ourselves out with force of negation. So I think force negation is the cards that have to go here. And then what's left after we do get rid of the What is left after we get rid of the force negations is that we've just got a bunch of creatures here that give us a chance of winning the game. Hopefully we can rip a land off the top of our deck, play Silver Gillidapt into Lord, and then disrupt our opponent with Merfolk Trickster. But yeah, I don't really want to go further down. I mean, going to 4, I think I only go to 4 if I have like a no-lander or something like that, or an all-lander. Here we go. This hand... Okay, let's say we mulligan to 6, and the hand is good at 7. So if we mulligan to 6, yeah, I just get rid of the force of negation. I want this force of negation. This force of negation is going to be a liability, and I'm sort of hoping that I'm going to draw land, so eventually I can curve out and then play a creature plus attack with the Mutavault. So again, I want to get rid of these force negations in the blind. And against some decks, you know, having force negation is good, but still, when you've mulliganed down, you can't afford to have interaction, or not interaction that 2-for-1s you like this. You just want to have creatures. You got to be able to put pressure on your opponent in order to win the game. Otherwise, the alternative to get rid of would be Mutavault. It has no synergy with the hand at all. And that's all I have to say. But I think I would rather have the Mutavault as an attacker somewhere down the line. We go turn 1, Kumena Speaker, turn 2, Master of the Pearl Trident, then turn 3, maybe Harbinger, bounce one of our opponent's creatures, and potentially attack with the Mutavault somewhere down the line. But the card to go is Force of Negation. Force Negation gets worse as you start mulliganing down, and yeah, that's that. So here at 6 cards, I think this is a pretty easy dump island. It's you don't need any more. So at 6 cards, you just dump the island, no big deal. Now let's say we go down to 5 cards. What do we do? I think that's a tough decision. It's tough between 2 islands, keep the spreading seas, or islands spreading seas. The problem is if you don't draw that land, it's gonna really, really suck. I definitely want to have the Ether Vial because we're drawing cards with Spreading Seas. But if we don't draw that land, it's not going to be good. I guess an option is to dump the Ether Vial if we go to 5. That's not a bad plan. The issue is that if we're playing Spreading... The one thing I would like to do is if I play Spreading Seas, I want them in multiples. That actually can be strong against a number of decks. And another thing is that we're tapping out to play Spreading Seas, and then the cards we draw we can play on Ether Vial. Maybe I want Harbinger of the Tides. It's not an aggressive card, but it's the only creature in the hand. I guess if we go down to 5, I'm just gonna... It's a tough call. I'd love to know what other people think, but I'll get rid of a Spreading Seas and an Island, and we just go down to 1 Spreading Seas that we are definitely going to cast on the earlier turns of the game. Also, Spreading Seas is, at least in this situation, is going to be more important to slow our opponent down. But you know what? Like, I think a cool alternative... a cool alternative is like dump Harbinger, dump Island, and then just hope to draw cards. But usually, it's not a reliable plan to go that route. But it's a tough thing. I think the most reliable plan is just go with this and hope for the best. But you know what? I could respect taking out an Island and taking out the Vial and playing it like this. And hope you will lock out your opponent with Seas. It's an interesting hand. It's an interesting hand going down to 5. So, very easy keep at 6. Or just dumping probably... In the blind, we'll probably keep the Cavern of Souls just in case we're up against a counterspell deck. We'll get rid of the Botanical Sanctum. And then against... I guess, again, if we have to mulligan down to 5, I just make a 1-lander. We just get rid of Botanical Sanctum and Cavern of Souls. Cavern of Souls is not that important. We've got the Ether Vial, and yeah, that's all we have to do. And we just go land, Vial, play Kumano Speaker if we don't draw a land, and then go, like, I don't know, Silvergill Adapt, hope to draw a land to play the Merfolk Mistbinder. This hand, definitely a mulligan on... is it a mulligan on 6? It's not that good, because I'm only playing like 2 cards. I do get a few draw steps until then, so like even if I'm on the play, I'll get to draw 2 cards before I get to my 3rd turn. I mean, it's definitely a keep at 5. This is just not a very impressive hand. And it's a very painful hand. It's a very painful hand if I want to keep all these Waterlogged Groves. Yeah, I guess we can keep at... I guess on the play I can keep this at 6, and on the draw maybe I'd mulligan. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you can just keep this. And you have like 2 cards. Yeah, you can just keep this. Sure. So at 6 we can just get rid of this, and it's a pretty weak hand, but hopefully we draw something in the next 2 draw steps to keep the momentum going. It's a good start. Like, Kumano Speaker, don't get me wrong, Kumano Speaker contributes to a lot of very powerful games. It's the only Merfolk that we have that can really help us get far ahead very early on in the game. And if we go down to 5, we definitely keep this as the snap keep, and I'll just get rid of the Island and keep the Waterlogged Groves and draw cards off of them. This is definitely a mulligan at 5. Mulligan at 6. And then how about mulliganing at 5? What can we get rid of? Force Negation, Waterlogged Grove. This is actually a really bad hand. Like, let's look at Force Negation, Waterlogged Grove at 5. Maybe it's not that bad. I still get a turn 2 play with Merfolk Mistbinder. You don't always get a turn 1 play. And we have a Mutavault. Yeah, I guess I could keep this, but it sucks. It's not great. Okay, this is a mulligan at 6. And I'm pretty sure this is just a mulligan at 5. I would not keep this. So you would have to go to 4 here. This is definitely a 4. Like, this is just a dead card. You could hope to... I mean, okay, so if let's say we go to 5, what's the best thing we could do? We could get rid of Kumano Speaker and get rid of a Lord. And then hope to draw an Island. But then you're really hoping to draw running islands in order to cast Lord of Atlantis and Master of the Pearl Trident. Maybe, okay, on the play, mulligan. On the draw, risky keep, but keep. Because you can at least hope to draw an island in the next few draw steps. Silvergill Adept, and worst case scenario, I don't know, Spreading Seas or Unmutavault. But likely you should just play it on your opponent's turn. So, play, mulligan, hope for a better hand. And let's say we do mulligan. What kind of 4-card hand do we get? And then on the draw, mulligan. So if we were still on the play, this would be this would be a very good hand at 4. I would dump the Force Negation, the Ether Vial, and the Cavern of Souls, and then play off of this. And this is the magic of the London Mulligan, actually. Then we have a very playable hand. If we draw one land, we can attack with the Mutavault, but basically we get to get a Vial in play, and then we're very likely going to play this Master of the Pearl Trident and the Harbinger of the Tides. And you look at all this extra stuff. We don't need this stuff. We don't need this Cavern of Souls. We don't need the second Ether Vial. We don't need the Force of Negation when we go that low down on cards. So we get rid of all those cards. And we leave ourselves with the best chance of winning the game. Very creature heavy and mana efficient hand. It's the power of the London Mulligan, people. So you have another one of these crappy hands. So if we mulligan down to 6 and had this, I would mulligan again down to 5. If we were down to 5... I might mulligan again. Like, what am I going to do? I get rid of Force Negation, I get rid of this Mistbinder, but I'm still like two very specific mana sources away from casting the Merfolk Mistbinder. So I don't have Spreading Seas or Silvergill Adept in this situation, so I would just go to 4. What does a mulligan to 4 look like here? Perfect. It looks really good. So we have a very similar situation as last time. Yeah, we would just do it like this. Again, Ether Vial, hope to rip a land. Crack this Waterlog Grove for more cards. So you see the power of the London Mulligan. We can take mediocre hands and make them better. Mulligan at 6 and 5. Again, these like brown mana, like a double blue spells all around. This one brown mana in our hand, that sucks. And then at 4, and I just want to keep the most creature dense hand possible. I think at 4 I would do this and hope to draw land. That would give me the best chance of winning the game. I'm going to get, it's tempting to keep the lands. It's tempting to keep the land, like maybe keep Merfolk Mistbinder, Botanical Sanctum, or like keep Lord 2 lands, Kumena Speaker, but you're still down a lot of cards. And I think your best chance of winning is get greedy, hope you draw a land in the next few draw steps. If you don't, you at least have a Kumena Speaker. Ooh, there's actually some point to keeping the breeding pool, because you want your Kumena Speaker to be much bigger on turn 1, just in case you don't draw that next land drop. You can get in for 2 damage by turn 2 and maybe 2 damage by turn 3 before you set up more creatures. So actually, I think I like keeping the breeding pool over the Botanical Sanctum, because you're not guaranteed to draw another land to cast your Lords next turn. So let's say we mulligan to 6. This hand looks great. I think I would just take it. I think I would get rid of the Mistbinder. It's close. Either Mistbinder or Spreading Seas. I don't mind Spreading Seas in multiples. If you end up against the right deck, Spreading Seas is going to be good. But on the other hand, this is a Lord, and all we need is like 1 blue mana source to activate it. Although we don't have, we still also need another blue mana source just to get Master of the Pearl Trident online. Yeah, it's close between these two. Now let's say we mulligan down to 5. I think I go like this. I want pure card advantage, and I want to hope that I'm up against the right opponent, that Spreading Seas is going to screw them, and then if it does screw them, it will hopefully buy me a lot of time to get back in the game. There's no guarantee that I can play my Lords next turn, so because I have double Spreading Seas here, I'm going to rely heavily on Spreading Seas. heavily on the card advantage. And if we draw like one Merfolk, I can cast Silvergill Adapt and even attack with the Mutavault even if I don't draw another land for the next few turns. So, very easy keep at 6. I would just get rid of the island. And then at 5, probably get rid of the breeding pools just so I can mitigate loss of damage. Go turn 1 Kumena Speaker, turn 2 Master of the Pearl Trident, and then hopefully we draw another creature next turn while playing Mutavault. Great 5-card hand. Very good 5-card hand. And you know, I want to illustrate, you know, we could have, because of London Mulligan, we get to see 7 cards and then just pick the best 5. But without the London Mulligan, if we mulligan down to 5, our hand easily could have looked like this, you know? And it's just garbage. And then we're like, we don't know what we're going to get. Like, this hand's not good. I would probably mulligan again. I would mulligan again. Like, this hand, what if I rip a Lord off the top of my deck? Who cares? It's not, I need to rip, like, multiple Lords off the top of my deck. But when we have this much information available to us, get rid of a breeding pool, get rid of an island, and this is a perfectly good hand. This hand can win the game. This hand can beat humans. We draw one more Lord off the top of our deck, and it's premium. Absolute premium. Premium hand. So say we mulligan to 6. Get rid of... Oh, we have this Mutavault, so I think I'd rather keep it. I just get rid of the Force Negation. I'm never proud of Force Negation when I'm down on cards. Let's say we're at 5 cards. I think I get rid of Force Negation and the island. I do want to get... I mean, you could get rid of the Mutavault, I guess, just be safe. But I think, again, with double Spreading Seas, I'm going to hope I'm up against a deck that's going to get screwed by Spreading Seas, and we're just going to Spreading Seas them out. But I guess the best thing, though, is to play Mutavault, and we're very likely to draw another land at some point. And worst case scenario, we attack with the Mutavault. And I'll keep the Waterlogged Grove. It will deal damage to us, but it also can be exchanged for more cards somewhere down the line. This hand is very good. Looks close between tossing the Spreading Seas of the Cavernous Souls. If I'm on the draw, I guess the Cavernous Souls. If I'm on the play, well, it's tough. I want to keep maximum creatures, but I also want a way to push through damage. Like playing Aether Vial on turn 1 and then playing a creature on turn 2 is very good. Then the following turn we can play 2 creatures. Playing an Aether Vial on turn 1 to start putting creatures into play by turn 3 is like not as impressive. Not as impressive in my opinion. Well, you know, we have Merfolk Trickster, so I think we can forgive a Spreading Seas. But if we're on the play, if we're on the draw, probably we could get rid of a Cavernous Souls and then hope to draw a land in the next few turns. Let's say we mulligan down to 5. It's easy just to get rid of the Cavernous Souls and the Spreading Seas. Just keep a creature heavy hand with Aether Vial. We've got... So let's say we mulligan down to 6. Well, we got multiple vials. You don't need more than 1 vial. Get rid of that. Get rid of that vial. You don't need more. Get rid of that. Do some spring cleaning. Get rid of that trash. You got a million Aether Vials. You got a million Aether Vials. How many more Aether Vials do you need? You get rid of that Aether Vial. So we don't need that. But if we need to go down to 5, I guess you toss a Mutavault. That's an easy toss. Yeah, and we keep this 5-card hand. This is great. And I'd probably start off with Mutavault with the intention of attacking with it next turn. So Mutavault into Aether Vial. And then when we attack the Mutavault and Vial in a Kumena Speaker at end of turn. So this looks like definitely a good keeping hand. We get rid of the Mutavault again, and then if we go down to 5 cards, I think it just get rid of Harbinger of the Tides. It's the most reactive card. I want to be as aggressive as possible. We start off with Mutavault. Same thing as last time. Start off with Mutavault to attack with it, Vial and Kumena Speaker, then we start vialing and Master the Pearl Trident. Okay, so at 6, I would mull this. Like, the worst card, I think, is Commander Speaker. I do like the Spreading Seas sort of hand. But then, let's say we go down to 5. Let's say we go down to 5 with this. I think, again, I get rid of... we get rid of Commander Speaker again. Okay, on the play, I would mulligan again. But I think on the draw, I might keep it. It's tough. I sort of want to get... Whoops. Sort of want to do this. Maybe this is just a mulligan. I need double blue sources for this. We saw how good our four card hands can be. Let's mulligan to 4. Well, this hand is not much better, but I guess it's better. If we draw 1 island, then we're in business. We can play a lord every turn. So this is better. This is better than the 5 card hand with 2 Spreading Seasons and 2 Mutavaults and only 1 lord, which is difficult to cast. So yeah, I'm pretty sure. I'm automatically tossing the Force of Negation after I've mulliganed once, especially in a situation like this. Then if we mulligan down to 6, I'll get rid of the more awkward reactive card. So this is a great 5. This is a great 5 card hand. Turn 1 land, Silvergill Adapt into potentially Lord or Merfolk Trickster. So this is pretty easy. Dump Spreading Seas for a 6 card hand. And then if we go a little bit further, I think I just dump the Spreading Seas again. I just rather have the creatures, have the pressure. I want to be able to put my opponent on the fastest clock possible. So we go Commander Speaker turn 1, Silvergill Adapt on turn 2, and Merfolk Mistbinder turn 3. This hand has no lands in it, so I would mulligan down to 4. I would not keep this at 5. I would just go down to 4. I guess this is the best 4 card hand. Get rid of the Silvergill Adapts and the Spreading Seas. If we draw a land, let's just hope it's an island or another blue source, and just get those Master of the Pearl Tridents out one at a time. Okay, at 5. Sorry, at mulligan to 6, get rid of the Force Negation. And of course, when you mulligan to 5, Force Negation isn't getting any better, so I would dump it as well. And remember, we are in the blind. We are completely in the blind against some deck. If, for example, let's just say in theory, we now know we're up against Neoform, I would get rid of this card and keep all the Force Negations, because they basically can't beat a Force Negation. Or if they can beat 1, they can't beat 2, so, you know, it depends on the situation. So far, we're mulliganing, assuming our opponent is unknown. We have no idea what we're up against. But there's definitely situations against the right combo decks. You're going to want to sacrifice, even though you've mulliganed a lot, you're going to want to sacrifice card advantage for, actually no, against Neoform I want to keep the Commander Speaker. No, I don't. I need the blue cards. Whoops. I need the blue cards to guarantee Force Negation is online. And I might just sit on these Force Negations until, like, I draw a million cards. Let's say I run out, or my second land, I keep drawing lands off the top of my deck. I may not play the creatures so that I have Force Negation active and up against Neoform. This hand is, I think, a mulligan at 6. There's, like, not really, like, even if I got rid of Harbinger of the Tides, I'm not thrilled about this hand. I'm just not. I'd rather go down to 5. At 5, I would keep it. I'd probably dump this. And then that way we've got turn 1 Commander Speaker, and then even if I draw a Mutavault, I can play Spreading Seas. It's close between Spreading Seas and the Merfolk Trickster. You could go either way. But if I draw a land, I can go Merfolk Mistbinder into Lord of Atlantis and then play Spreading Seas in the end. So I do like this configuration with all the Lords and the Spreading Seas. So if we go down to 6... I think I like dumping the Echoing Truth just so that I'm guaranteed to play something on turn 2 with the mana that we have. And then, but if we go down to 5, I'll just get rid of the Cavern of Souls. That's fine. No problem. Well, whatever. If we don't play anything by turn 2, that's okay. Hopefully, Aether Vial will... Hopefully we draw land. Hopefully we draw land. So, we can keep this. At 6, I would get rid of the Mutavault. Yeah, so Mutavault I think is a problem. So yeah, we get rid of Mutavault. Sorry. And... oh, hope for the best here. Maybe on the play I keep this. On the draw, it's a lot more iffy. It depends so much on drawing a land. Yeah, maybe on the draw, I have to mulligan this still. So on the play, I can keep this because I turn 1 Island, turn 2 Mutavault, Spreading Seas, something, potentially even my own Mutavault, even though that sort of sucks. But we'll get to draw a card, and hopefully dig ourselves out of this. But on the draw, the Spreading Seas plan is going to be slow, and even if we do draw our land, I think the whole plan is slow. So maybe I mulligan down to 5. So now let's say we're at 5. I think I do this. Yeah, it's hard. Again, it's hard to tell. We have had some good hands at 4, but we've also had some sketchy hands at 4. I guess this is okay. You just hope to draw land. I guess you just hope to draw land. Okay. Moving on. This is going to be easy keep at 6 and 5. So at 6, we get rid of a Mutavault. At 5, we get rid of probably an island. And then just live with what we have. We'll at least get turn 2 Commander Speaker. And yeah, so we just dump the lands in these cases. It's nice when you mulligan down far. Yeah, keeping the vial and just getting rid of the excess lands is usually the way to go. And so that, like, yeah, again, mulligan to 6, get rid of an Aether Vial, you have an extra one. And then mulligan down to 5, just get rid of Spreading Seas, you have an extra one. No big deal, easy mulligan decision. Ooh, this is very interesting. So I would definitely keep this at 5 and 6. I think at, I think I would get rid of the island. I want to keep as many, I do like these waterlogged groves when I'm down on cards. We can get rid of the island. And then at 6 we can get, so if we mulligan down to 5, we can get rid of a Waterlogged Grove. And this looks like a very reasonable hand. Turn 1, Aether Vial. Turn 2, Spreading Seas. Turn 3, we can Vial in the Silvergill Adept. And hopefully we've drawn, through our draw steps and Spreading Seas and Silvergill Adept, we've drawn some gas and we can attack with the Mutavault by turn 3. Again, easy keep, and we're just getting rid of the lands. Probably starting with Botanical Sanctum at 6, and then an island on turn at 5. Actually, it's a good question. You know, what if we got rid of this Aether Vial? Could that be better, especially on the play? Guarantee that Merfolk Beastbinder on turn 2. Guarantee Lord of Atlantis by turn 3. Let me know what your experience says. This looks good in theory, but you know it might not. It would be a good question to answer as we move on as a Merfolk community. Easy dump force, and then we're in that situation again. No, actually no, we're not in that same situation. We've got a million Silvergill Adepts. Just get rid of island. So I like this hand. At 6 we get rid of the island. At 5 I think we just get rid of the Spreading Seas, just go aggro, turn 1 Command Speaker, Lord. You can win a lot of games with a mulligan like this. Sculpt that perfect 5-card hand. So I guess we're just going to leave it here. I hope you all enjoyed learning how to mulligan with Merfolk, how things have changed, and the advantages of the London Mulligan that it gives our deck. Yeah, the London Mulligan improves a lot of other decks, but I think it helps ours a lot more, especially, you know, for example, against Tron, or against a lot of decks that require a lot of combo pieces, so Tron, Neoform, and certain combo decks. They need like 3 pieces to get everything going, but it only takes like 1 card of ours, sometimes Spreading Seas, sometimes Force of Negation, sometimes a Graveyard Hate card, to just dismantle all the cards that they mulligan down to. So it just needs 1 card from us to tear apart 3 or more cards of theirs. I think the London Mulligan favors Merfolk. So long as their deck is not too explosive, I think the London Mulligan still has the advantage, gives the advantage to really, really explosive decks that can like Hogak, for example, but not always. So like Hogak in general can get a really big explosive turn 2, so that's really good for them. However, some of them require Faithless Looting, and if they keep like this really vulnerable hand with Faithless Looting and you force a negation it, let me tell you, when you force a negation a player's 5-card hand, they will almost always do nothing for the rest of the game. They were in such bad shape. They were very dependent on that Faithless Looting getting them back into action. So I hope you liked it. You let me know if you want to see more content like this. We can definitely look at more stuff such as this. I'm going to thank all my patrons supporting me on Patreon. And this has been Nikachu talking about mulliganing with Modern Merfolk with the London Mulligan.